Search for more than 60 flood victims continues in KZN. The government there has committed to assisting families who are still trying to rebuild their lives. Many of them have lost their homes, their livelihoods, and of course, important documents. Displaced residents, we're told, are still living in churches or community halls. So to help us understand the kind of assistance that's taking place now, let's bring in KZN's Social Development HOD, Neliswa Vilakazi, who's with us via our video link this morning. Lovely to see you, ma'am. Thanks very much indeed for your time. There's been a lot of conversations also taking place in the week gone by around ways through which we could sustain at least the livelihoods of people who've lost everything in these floods. Suggestions coming through that perhaps it's time to think of some kind of interim grant for some of these worst affected families. Is that something your department can afford?
Thank you very much for having us in your show. First of all, we must say that we do feel with the communities that were affected by these floods, the disasters. There is a role that we are playing as the Department of Social Development that also includes working in collaboration with other departments. And as social development, we're working as a portfolio, which then says that it's social development, it's SASA, is also one of our entities, which is the National Development Agency. So we do think that the communities can benefit in terms of sustaining their livelihoods during this time.
Yeah, the question I'm getting at, though, is there provision to provide the kind of relief that comes in the form of some kind of grant? I mean, I imagine there'd be conversations around how much that grant will be, how long it would be around, but is that a conversation that you think can take place?
It's a conversation that can take place, well, depending on the affordability as well on the side of government. But currently, the only grant that is available is the 350 grant that you are aware of. But over and above that, there are also other forms of support that are given to the families, which is the social relief of distress that takes care of the issues of food in ensuring that people's livelihoods are sustained. For example, the social relief of distress grant money now has increased. It used to be 1350, it used to be 700. Then when the flood started, then it went up to 1350. Now it is 1980 per household. Those that are in their households, other than those that are supported, who are in church halls, as you indicated, and in community halls as well. We want to ensure that even those that are not in their families, wherever they are, their lives are sustained in terms of them getting the necessities that they're supposed to get.
The social relief of distress grant, are you able to talk us through the eligibility criteria and how long some of the families who are eligible are able to receive the money?
The 350 grant or the actual...
the one that's 1,900 rand.
Yes, that takes for a month for the household to live on. It includes the groceries and some basic necessities that will make the livelihood, the household to sustain itself for a month. I think it makes a huge difference, especially considering that most of the people that were affected are those that are unemployed and who are recipients of the 350 grant, and some whose children are in receipt of the social grants in general. So it does make a huge difference other than not getting anything at all.
Hold on. Are you saying they receive this 1,900 as a once-off payment?
For a period of 3 months.
Okay.
Whilst they are still there, yes, 1,980 rand per month.
Okay, all right. So it's a 3-month payment that's made. And the reason why I'm asking, of course, is because there's no ability to tell how long people will actually be in distress, given the scale of the devastation that's taken place in KwaZulu-Natal. Many people, I imagine, haven't been to work since the day that the floods took place, and we actually don't know how employers are receiving them. So for individuals who might need relief beyond the 3 months for this special payment, what kind of assistance is government providing for them? What kind of ideas do you have up your sleeve?
I think in that one, because remember, We have made submissions to government, and I think what will make even lives much easier is that when this happened, government has declared this as a national disaster. So if that is the case, then we were requested to put in our request to say what is it that we need in order to ensure that people's lives are sustained. So that will then beyond the available budget to actually take care of the communities that are affected. So which means that there will be additional support that will be given to the province in order to take care of the needs of the people. That will not only be within social development, but even in other government departments, because this thing happened and beyond what was available. Hence, the declaration of a national disaster justifies for additional resources for communities to be supported, those that were affected by the disaster.
Yeah. The material needs of the communities is one consideration, but psychologically, this has also dealt a major blow to people's well-being. The psychosocial support that's being provided, especially for children, how is this coordinated?
As the Department of Social Development, the provision of the psychosocial support is our competency. So we have started to do that. In fact, because of eThekwini is the worst affected area, not saying that other areas are not taken care of, but we have identified professionals from other districts that are less affected to come and support eThekwini. The psychosocial support that we are providing is not only for children, but also even for individual family members. It's a struggle a little bit, especially those that are in community halls, because you see when you do that, it's a professional intervention. You need some privacy. You need to allow a person, in cases being emotional and so on, to go through that journey with a person. Imagine if you have been having your 4-roomed house for years, and then all of a sudden the house is no longer there. That is very traumatic to the parents, to the children, to the entire family. So we have started that process, and it's going very well. It's unfolding very well to the communities that we are serving. We strongly believe that it will be more effective once they move to their households. We know that the Department of Human Settlement on the other side is fast-tracking the issue of the temporary houses for these people. So it becomes much better when you finalize the process and people are in privacy in their individual homes, and they can even share amongst themselves how they see the whole thing, so that in the future it doesn't affect them that there was this trauma that was not attended to and they were not healed.
Yeah.
So that we are monitoring that, yes.
Very quickly, Neliswa, there is also a real fear that many children have been left orphaned because of what's taken place. In other words, they've lost their parents or their guardians. Do you have an idea of how many children, sadly, are now faced with that prospect?
You remember that some people are still missing. So all in all, the children that we are servicing right now, we are servicing children plus minus 200 children that are in our database as we speak, that we are servicing as the department. But we must indicate that even those that are with the caregivers, some of the caregivers are not their biological parents, but maybe are grannies, aunts, and so on, but they also need that support as well. In some other areas where we find that people are in shelters, we're even proposing to remove the children to places of safety so that they are able to go to school and their life is a little bit normal other than in a shelter or a community hall. But we find that some of the caregivers were not comfortable with the children being taken away from them, because we wanted to ensure that the children are not affected that much by what is currently happening, because they are confused to say all of a sudden we don't have a home and we live in a strange place in this community hall, and so on.
Yeah.
So we are giving children special attention because we know the long-term effect this can have in their lives.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for breaking it all down for us. Really appreciate your time. Neliswa Vilakazi is the HOD of the Social Development Department in KwaZulu-Natal.
Thank you.